Welcome. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is Justin. Welcome back to day 3 of the Confidence to Close Challenge. Man, I am super excited that you all decided to join me once again on day 3 for the Confidence to Close Challenge. Um, this has been a marathon for me. I'll be honest with you guys. I am stretching my muscles. I am getting better at this thing every single day. And I want to thank all of you who have joined me along this first ugly ride along the way to learning how to sell better. Now, let me say this really quick, guys, before we get started. I actually want to come full screen so you guys can see me here. Give me a second here so you guys can see my face. All right. So I wanted to start off by first welcome back to day 3 of the Confidence to Close Challenge. Today, we're going to take everything you've learned so far and apply it to the moments that matter the most. All right. And the moments that matter the most are when you're face to face with objections and closing the deal. And for many sellers, this is the turning point for most of their sales. In fact, for the average seller, this is the turning point for most of their sales. And so let me start with this. Objections are not rejections. Okay. Objections are not rejections. They're not signs that you're failing. They're opportunities to build trust, clarify any doubts, and it gives you the opportunity to guide your prospect towards the right decision. Okay? Fear of objections is what keeps many sellers stuck. It's the fear of hearing no. And if you fear hearing the word no, you're never going to be successful in sales. And I know they say never, but if you fear hearing the word no, you are never going to be successful in sales. So maybe you've heard objections like, I need to think about it, or it's too expensive, and you felt your confidence just drop. I get it. I've been there. I've gotten those objections too. Those moments feel uncomfortable, and they should. But here's the truth. They're uncomfortable for you. They should be uncomfortable for the customer. Your ability to handle objections is what separates good sellers from the great ones. We talked about that on Monday. Okay. Objections don't mean no. Okay. At least not yet. They don't mean no, at least not yet. They mean help me understand more. They mean reassure me this is the right choice. It means help me make this decision easier. And the more disciplined you are in preparing for these objections, the more disciplined you are in preparing for them, the less they will control you. Okay, the less they will control you. Fear dissolves with preparation and practice. Fear dissolves with preparation and practice. So I'm challenging you today to reframe how you see objections. Instead of fearing them, see them as final steps in earning trust. Right? Every objection is a gift. I know. It's the prospect telling you exactly what they need to feel confident in to say yes. If you're getting a price objection, they're not confident in your price. You haven't given them enough value. Your job is to listen, respond with clarity, and lead them with confidence. This is your sales call. You're the expert. But here's the thing. Handling objections isn't just about knowing what to say, right? When you're in my course and some of my students, you're going to learn tonality, timing, when to say certain things in the call. But as I told you on Monday, the greats, the elite, it's about discipline. It's about creating the system that's repeatable, that can be audited and adjusted where you see inefficiencies. It's about putting in the reps. The sellers who dominate aren't the ones born with natural talent. I told you, sales is not a natural talent. They're the ones who practice until objection handling becomes second nature. Seriously, you want to get good at this, you have to practice. So today, I'm going to give you the tools, but it's up to you to use them. Practice until you're no longer afraid. That's all I'll say. Practice until you no longer fear hearing no. Practice until you say to yourself, you know what? I know they're going to give me a certain objection. I'm ready for it. Until objections feel like opportunities, until they feel like opportunities, they're going to feel like obstacles. So you need to practice until objections feel like opportunities instead of obstacles. All right, so quickly recap. So to quickly recap the last 3 days you've been with me, this has been an incredible time. I've really enjoyed you guys. I have no idea who's live right now because I'm not paying attention. It threw me off yesterday, made me all nervous. So we're not paying attention to who's focused on today. I'm going to answer your questions at the very end. I can see who's in here making comments. I see the comment section here. So really quick here. On day one, we focused on shifting selling to serving, right? The elite versus the average versus the great, the greats versus the good. You learn how to approach calls with confidence, clarity, and the mindset of guiding prospects towards the solutions they truly need. That's the mindset. That mindset is the foundation of everything we're doing, right? The mindset of an elite sales professional is the mindset that we're taking into day 3. Now, on day 2, we broke down the buyer's journey and the 5 stages of awareness. You learn how to meet prospects where they are, tailoring your approach based on their level of awareness, whether they're just identifying a problem, exploring solutions, or ready to buy. By aligning your approach to their stage, you reduce friction and objections before they arise. Now, day 3. Now it's time to bring all this stuff home. It's time to wrap it all in a good bow. Now it's time to bring it all together. Today we'll focus on 2 critical skills, just 2. All right. Now they're big ones. So this is going to be a banger of a session. All right. It's going to be a banger of a session. But 2 skills. You're going to learn how to structure your sales calls for maximum effectiveness and mastering objection handling. Now, if you're one of my students, you guys know that we shouldn't be handling objections. We should be blocking them and managing them throughout the call. But by the end of today, you'll have all the confidence to handle objections like a pro and close deals naturally. All right. So we're going to get started. And I hope you guys are in for a treat. Day 1, day 3, confidence to close, objection handling, and sales call structures. All right, objection handling and sales call structure. We're going to master the art of understanding objection prevention and closing naturally. Remember what I said, objection prevention. You should not be getting certain types of objections at the end of a 60-minute phone call. Remember, guys, your funnel and your sales process is a system. It's an ecosystem of multiple parts. Your sales call is one part of that trust building ecosystem. Your entire ecosystem of content creation, of giving value away, your ebooks, your e-guides, your YouTube videos, your shorts, all of that is so that the customer can know, like, and trust you. And your sales call is the culmination of that know, like, and trust funnel. Okay, it's a system. And if you practice and control your system, you'll know that by the time your customer gets to your sales call, they're highly qualified, right? We know they're qualified. They're your ideal customer, and we're going to know that they have the funds and the capability to execute on a close with you at the end of the call. Now, your sales call is a structure. Think of it as a giant, they say an iceberg, right? You see the very tip of the iceberg at the top, and then at the very bottom, there is so much more that you're missing. But we're going to flip that iceberg is going to flip upside down because it's going to be a backwards funnel. At the very top of that is going to be discovery. You're going to spend an inordinate amount of time on your sales call in discovery mode, learning about your customer. Okay, 90% discovery, 10% close. I want you to think about it like that. 90% discovery, 10% close. I've got my tea here, y'all. It is 19 degrees here in Greenville, South Carolina. My mama down in Charleston got some snow. They sending me pictures. I wish we had some snow, but it's cold. So I'm going to enjoy my hot tea this morning, okay? Let's get started. A great sales call isn't about selling. It's about understanding. There's one word I want you to walk away from when it comes to your sales calls. One word. And that's it. One word. One word. And that word is clarity. If you are joining me today, this is my first call to action. Type in the chat clarity. Type in the chat clarity. If you are performing your sales call the way you should be performing it, you should be thinking one word and one word only. I need to get clear on what this customer needs. It's all about clarity. Because at the end, what you're going to see is when things break down, you're going to realize it's because you weren't clear somewhere in this phase of the call. Okay? Why structure matters. Remember, we're working in a system. This is a cog. This is a big, giant machine. And if one piece of the system is removed, the entire system is really inefficient or it fails to operate. So why does structure matter? It creates a roadmap for the conversation. It creates a roadmap for the conversation. It ensures the prospect feels heard and valued. This is a listening exercise. And it minimizes objections by addressing them naturally throughout the entire call. Notice that what I said, naturally throughout the entire call. You want to address objections throughout the call. If you are one of my students and I listen to your calls, 3 or 4 calls in a row, and we're getting the same objection at the very end of every single call, we're going to adjust your script. Or we have to dig deep into why is your customer not qualified, right? So we want to minimize objections at the end of the call by making sure that first and foremost, before they even get on the call, they're confident, they're highly qualified, and we know they have the ability to impact a close. Okay. Your key focuses on your phone, on your sales calls are going to be 90% discovery to uncover needs, build trust, and create alignment. 10% to confirm and transition naturally into the next steps. Okay? 90% of this is going to be uncovering needs, answering questions, building trust, and creating some form of alignment. And we'll get into how we transition into those here in a second. Now we have phases of your sales call. What are the phases of your sales call that you need to go through? There is no skipping around. Hear me clearly. There's no skipping around. Okay? You must follow these steps, step by step by step. You have your call opening. All right. Now, let me say this to you guys really quick. I've been in professional sales a very long time. I've been in B2B sales over a decade, and I'm telling you right now, I don't like small talk. Cut the small talk. Cut all the small talk, guys. Get rid of small talk. If you've got I use this example all the time. All right. I use this example all the time. If you've got a spider in your ear and you go to the doctor, you do not want your doctor to talk about who's going to win the AFC title game. Well, I might, but you may not want someone to talk about who's going to win the AFC title game on Sunday. All right? You want the doctor to ask you a couple of questions. Why are you here? Tell me a little bit more about that, and here's how I can help you. So cut the small talk. You want to have a 2 to 3 minute opening of the call that builds rapport and sets clear expectations. You are the expert. When you get on that call, you're the doctor. You're the one here with the scalpel, with the solution. You're the one that's going to solve the problem, not the other way around. Okay? Build rapport, set expectations. And then you want to gain micro commitments for clear decisions at the end. I'm always going to try to get a micro commitment throughout my call. It's a small yes. Notice, anytime you hear someone on a webinar say, type this in the chat to do this, that's not just a micro commitment, it's engagement. It allows you to see who's involved, right? It puts skin in the game. But a micro commitment, a small one of my favorite motivational speakers is Lisa Nichols. And Lisa Nichols has this, she does yes, right? You know, she always asks you for your yes. Imagine for a moment if you're on a sales call, and by the end of that sales call, you've said the word yes 100 times. Why on earth would you say no to the price if you said yes to everything 100 times? So you want to gain micro commitments throughout your sales call, and I'll show you how to do that here shortly. So your opening script might start like something like this. And we're going to go ninja high level in part 2, but it might start like something like this. Hey, thanks for taking the time today. Here's what we'll do. I'll ask questions to understand your goals and challenges, then share how we can help if it fits. By the end, I'll ask for your thoughts, a yes or a no, so we both have clarity. Does that sound good? Now, I didn't put in any products or services, but the most important thing is to ask for the commitment for the yes or the no. And when we get into objection handling phase of this call, you're going to see why I don't get think about it objections at the end of calls. If you're getting a think about it objection at the end of a call, you did not perform and execute on your introduction the way I will have taught you. Okay? All right. Now, phase 2, the second phase of your sales call is discovery. Discovery. You're going to spend 90% of your time in discovery. If you're on a 60-minute call, you're going to spend about 30, maybe 25 to 30 minutes of your call here. Okay? In discovery, you're focused on uncovering pain, getting your customers' goals, and decision-making criteria. In discovery, you're using open-ended questions. You're literally like direct examination, and right? When I was in mock trial in college, by the way, I was actually a very, very good. I mean, I beat a lot of good, big time Ivy League schools back in my day from little old upstate South Carolina here. So anyway, that's a long story. But when I was in mock trial back in college, I remember being so dedicated to loving direct examination. I love giving people the opportunity to have a narrative, right? So that's really what you want in a discovery phase. You want the customer to go into a narrative so that you can take notes. Now, you don't want to sit here and take notes like you're, not paying attention, but you want to make sure you're making note of the most important things so you can give a good recap. Your key discovery questions. When you're looking for pain discovery, what's your biggest challenge? What's your biggest challenge with X area? When I was in mobility, What's your biggest challenge with connectivity right now? Right? Maybe if you're a student of mine and you're selling mobility products. What I mean by mobility products, let's say you're in SaaS, let's say you're selling IoT and you're selling connectivity, you're selling failover, right? Right now, we've got a bunch of weather events going on. You got, wildfires down in California. There's got to be a way for businesses and first responders to stay connected, right? And so we want to know, like, how is your business staying connected while there is no real connectivity around us? Well, this is how we do it. We want to uncover pain. What's your biggest challenge with connectivity? What's your biggest challenge with your weight? What's your biggest challenge with your sales? What's your biggest challenge with your lead generation? Okay. What's your biggest challenge with depression or whatever you're selling? What is your biggest challenge? You want to get people to open up about the pain they're experiencing. And then you want to ask questions like, how is this affecting your team or your business? That's a real question. How is depression affecting you? I can't get out of bed. I can't go grocery shopping. It's hard for me to focus. How is your weight affecting you? I can't play with my grandkids. I can't bend down and tie my shoe. I can't walk up a flight of stairs without losing my breath. My family has history of hypertension and high blood pressure, right? How is that affecting you? How is the lack of connectivity affecting your business? Well, I can't, I've got to do everything by hand. I can't send out invoices manually. I got to send invoices manually, causing things to fall between the cracks, right? You want to dig deep into pain. I'm telling you guys right now, if you're getting objections about, let's say, a spouse, you're getting a money or fear objection or things like that, this is where pain comes in right here. Not enough pain. It doesn't hurt them enough, right? It doesn't hurt enough. When you get tired of being tired, what do? You change. Until that pain is enough for you to change, you're never going to change. No matter how cheap my product is, how good my product is, how nice I am, how good looking I am, it doesn't matter. If there's not enough pain in your life to change, you're not going to. Okay? Then we have desired outcome questions. What do you want to accomplish with said solution? What does success look like for you and your business? For you in weight loss, let's say you're a personal trainer. Maybe it is, hey, success looks like I can lose 25 pounds. For me at 40 years old, honestly, it's not even about weight loss for me at 40 years old. It's about mobility. It's about bending down and not having my back feel like my spine's going to snap out of the lower part of my back. It's about being able to, do sit Indian style again. I haven't been able to sit Indian style since the 5th grade, right? It's getting my mobility back. It's feeling like I'm loose and limber again. I can go out and dance and have a good time, right? So if you're selling complex solutions, maybe the desired outcome is, increase revenue, increase productivity, increase efficiency. And if the businesses are big enough, there are ways and there are KPIs that are monitored to track those things. What about if we could remove that challenge and that previous pain? What would change for you? If I could remove this challenge, if I could remove this pain from you, what would that change for your life? What would that do for your family life? If you're a stressed out business owner and you've got a sales team that's not performing well, if I could remove the lack of sales, if I could increase your lead conversion rate by 30%, what would that change for your life? Desired outcomes. And let me say this to you guys really quick as well, as a side note. All desired outcomes aren't business related. Novel idea. All Desired outcomes are not business related. You could have a CEO that just wants more of his time back. I'm spending all my evenings at work because my sales team is floundering. And if I'm not on the sales floor, nobody's selling. So I got to spend my evenings, instead of being with my family and my wife and my kids or my partner or my spouse, I'm here at work being a babysitter. I want my time back. So not every desired outcome has to do with a business outcome. It could be like the business struggling could lead to a life impacting issue. My stress, my sleep, my lack of health, mental health, whatever the case might be. Okay. So I don't want you to always think about desired outcomes from a business outcome perspective, because real true pain is personal. So we want to know what the personal impact of this stuff really is, because it's the person who's making the decision at the end of the day on behalf of the business. Then we want to get into the decision-making process. What is their decision-making process? And then we're going to get into this as we get going. We're going to start seeing why these phases make sense, so we can go. Remember, a system, I need clear checkpoints. I need a clear journey so I can go back to that stop sign and say, hey, which way was I going? Oh, now I got it. Now I know where we got lost. Okay. So, decision-making process. How do you typically make decisions like this? How do you typically make decisions like this? Do you deliberate for a few days? Is this going to take a 2-call close? Are there other decision makers that are going to need to be available? Which leads me to, who else needs to be involved in this decision? You get to a husband and a wife, right? I need my wife involved. For example, I'm so proud of my son. If you guys know me, I'm very, very proud of my son. He's been married now 2 years. He lives locally right here. I'm proud of both him and his wife. They are high school sweethearts. And before seeing my son be a married man, it's very, very, very hard for me to hear him say, I got to talk to my wife first about it. It was the first time he hit me with that. I kind of like, what? I kind of did that kind of, but I'm your dad. No, I got to talk to my wife first, right? So if there is a decision maker that needs to be a part of the conversation, you want to have them on that call. All right. Remember, guys, okay, if we get to a place where at the end of the call, I got to talk to my spouse about it. I got to talk to my wife about it. Man, I got to talk to my VP of sales about it. I got to talk to the CEO about it. And you just wasted 60 minutes. Because nothing that you talked about on that call is going to be relayed in the fashion, in the manner, in the clarity by which you did today on that call. What they're going to do is send an email saying, hey, I just talked to the guy about the sales training. And then they're going to say, well, let's discuss it on next Monday's meeting. And by next Monday's meeting, the only thing that she wrote down were about 3 or 4 bullet points and the price. And that's it. Right? But if during your call you've asked who else needs to be involved in this decision, and they say, I'm the only person making this decision, and at the end of the call, they say, I got to talk to my CEO about it, then you can say, wait a second. 45 minutes ago, you said that you made the decisions by yourself. So do you need your CEO? Because let's get him on the phone now. Let's call him right now. We've already been on the call 30 minutes. Right? So learn their decision-making process so that it doesn't blindside you. And then we want to transition to close. Now, I love this part right here. I absolutely love this part. Because this part right here, believe it or not, will make or break your sale. Yep, I said it. I'm going to stand 10 toes in it. This part right here can make or break your sale. Having an amazing summary, a really good summary for your customer, lets them know you listened. You listened. So if over the last 30 minutes, your customer has been telling you their entire life story, from when they got divorced, to when the kids were born, to when they started the business, to when the business failed, to when they restarted it with nothing in their pockets. And then they got a big investment deal, and then they got their first deal. And now they're ready to scale beyond imagination, and that's where you come in. And in 30 minutes into that call, you say, okay, well, I'm going to show you my demo now. Yeah, good luck winning that sale. However, if you transition smoothly with a John, Sarah, Natalie, Nicole, Richard, Laura, thank you. Thank you, man, for that story. I can really see why you're a passionate leader and you want to make these changes in your business today. Just so that we're on the same page, I want to do a quick summary of what we just talked about before we move on to the next part of the call. You talked about this problem impacting this side of your family. You talked about this problem impacting this part of the business. You talked about this problem impacting this part of efficiency. And then we moved into talking about this, and this. Does that sound about right? Did I do a great job summarizing? Perfect. So now that we have a very clear understanding and a lot of alignment, I believe I can help. And that's when we move on and naturally transition into our close. So the script goes like something like this. Based on what you shared with me, it sounds like your weight loss problem is your biggest challenge. It sounds like your connectivity problem is your biggest challenge, and solving it would help you achieve adding an additional $100,000 in revenue. Does that sound or feel accurate? Or based on what you shared, it sounds like your mental health is your biggest challenge, and solving it would help you achieve reaching your next career goal. Does that feel accurate? Does that sound accurate? Great. Here's how we can help. If you do that, you've now taken your customer, you've picked them up like a baby, and you've rocked them nice and, all right, okay, here's what we're going to do for you. Right? You're lowering resistance, making it natural. And now we move into the close. So what are the key takeaways for your call structure? All right, we talked about the call structure in general. Number one, spend 90% of your call in discovery. You want to spend 90% of your call in discovery. No joke, guys. If you're in my class or one of my cohorts and we talk about, and I hear your phone call and you didn't close the deal, there are times where I'm going to say you didn't do enough discovery. You didn't do enough discovery. Go back. In my day-to-day work, in my 9 to 5, right? In my 9 to 5, I will send my sales rep back to the customer, ask more questions. You didn't ask enough questions. Right? You cannot solve a problem if you don't know what the problem actually is and how it's deeply impacting people. The more you uncover, the easier it is to close, because then you can always reframe and always tie back. You want to use micro commitments throughout the call. Remember, yes, yes. You want to get as many yeses on the way to the close. If you get a customer to say the word yes 40, 50, 60 times on a call, by the end of that call, why would they say no to your offer? Micro commitments, secure small agreements to build alignment and trust. And then you want to transition to your close naturally. And then you want to confirm alignment before making your offer. Now, I will say this. I always ask for permission before I make an offer. Do I have permission to ask you for your money? I'm old school. You don't come to somebody's house and just ask for somebody's money. What are you getting? What are you giving somebody, right? I'm an old school guy. I was raised by my grandmama, all right? Confirm alignment before making an offer. If you're still here, similar to yesterday, type in the chat, alive, so I can know that you are alive and I am not boring you all to death. All right, let's move on to objection handling and blocking. This is the fun part. This is the fun part, because this is where if you get to the end of the call and you're getting objections, you didn't handle them and you didn't block them. All right, let's get started. Why objections happen. Remember what I told you in the introduction? Objections are not rejections. You're not being personally rejected. Okay, you're not being personally rejected. It is something in your offer, something you didn't clarify, something the customer does not understand that they want a better understanding about. So the common causes of objections: lack of clarity about your solution. Remember what I told you. Write this word down before you start your sales call. Your mindset should always be clarity. Clarity. Can I get clarity? We want to be clear. If you leave the call unclear, what do you think the customer is? Okay. We want to talk about unspoken fears or concerns. I will tell you flat out, I am not afraid to ask a customer, what are you afraid of? What is your fear? Because that word needs to elicit something emotionally out of them that I can get them to tell me so I can actually solve a problem. If you are in mobility, right? If you're in complex solutions, the fear might be the complex logistics of implementation or execution. If you are a personal trainer, the fear might be the work. Believe it or not, there are people who are just afraid of the work. I've had clients even say they're afraid, what if it actually works? What if I actually get a whole bunch of followers and subscribers? I actually got to deliver something to them. You know what? I told my very self that. What if people actually showed up to this thing? I got to actually talk. I got to deliver some value. Novel idea, right? So you want to get to the fears and the concerns very, very early. And so asking a customer, hey, man, what are you afraid of? What frightens you about this process? Okay. Fears or concerns are all about process, guys. Fears and concerns will always be about process. I don't care what it is, how it is. People are not afraid to spend money. We spend money on crap all day long. Okay. So people are not afraid to spend money. They're afraid to lose time. And so losing time is about process. All right. And then number 3, misalignment on timing, pricing, and decision-making. Misalignment on timing. You caught this customer in the middle of Q2. We're about to go into, we're planning, we're prepping, we're getting ready for the, for the sprint in Q3 and Q4. Right? Or let's say you work in a SLED or in government. We all know there's a federal buying season. Guys, look, we're not making any decisions for the federal buying season. So you already know you're not going to get a whole lot out of this thing until fourth quarter. Right? Misalignment on timing. So if you're calling a government contractor or a government team in January, good luck. Just know if they don't have that budget right now and that budget's already allocated, if they don't have extra, it's going to wait until federal buying season going into the Q4 of the same year. What about pricing? I will die on this hill. And I'm going to say this over and over and over and over again until anyone that knows me will listen. If your customer is seeing your price for the first time at the end of a 60-minute sales call, you have failed. And you deserve all the objections that come with it. Your customer, well, let me just say this. Your solution ain't that great. It ain't that complicated. And it ain't that complex, right? If you're not deploying a solution across multiple states and dealing with multiple organizations inside of an organization, if it's not multi-organizational, your price is not high enough to where it cannot be posted somewhere throughout the customer journey. Last night, one of my mentors showed me his website. Yes, $30,000 a year is my price. $20,000 for this package, $15,000 for this one. I can guarantee you he is not getting sales calls at the end where someone says, oh, that's too high. He's not getting those. And I know that for a fact. All right. And then decision making. Have your decision makers on the call. In your introduction, when you're asking these questions, and there needs to be a decision maker present, hey, you know what, Richard, it's okay if we can, postpone for an hour or two to give your CEO some time to get on. Send him the invite, right? Hey, he didn't have to be present. I just want him to listen. How about that? Or better yet, let's reschedule so we can regain some alignment and get everybody on the same page. Hey, Justin, why would I want to do that? Well, because I don't want to have to, one, deliver this information twice. And number two, you're good at what you do. I'm good at what I do. I don't want you to deliver the message, this very important message, in a half-baked way. Don't say it like that. We'll figure out a way to say it. We'll figure out a way to script it. But we basically want to say to some effect, I don't want you sending my message to your CEO. I want to give it to him myself personally. That's essentially what you're saying. I want to deliver the message myself. Okay? Now, moving on. Your key focuses are to proactively block objections during your sales call. And if you do happen to have to handle objections, you want to handle remaining objections confidently during your close. And again, this comes with practice. Blocking objections during your call. Okay, so Justin, I'm getting a lot of think about it objections. If you want to block that objection from happening again, okay, you want to set expectations for a decision in the opening. To block a think about it objection at the end of the call, you want to set the expectation at the beginning of the call. I have an amazing mentor. She doesn't know it yet that she's my new mentor, but she don't know it yet. And I preach this too now, right? Like you should be setting the expectation that this is a sales call. I'm going to ask you to spend money at the end of this call. So you must set that expectation at the opening. So if you're getting think about it, it's because your opening and your introduction were not thoroughly executed. Okay, so I want you to get into my mind when I listen to your sales calls, when I do your sales calls audits or your sales call reviews, I'm listening for your introduction, so I can tie it to any objections you might be getting at the end of your sales call. Okay, and then you want to create urgency and clarity during your discovery. Create urgency and clarity during discovery. Okay, if you're getting think about it, remember if someone has a spider in their ear. Okay, no matter what your solution is, I don't care what your solution is, as long as it doesn't involve like cutting my ear off or like setting fire to my head, right? I don't really care what the solution is. And quite frankly, if there's a spider in my ear, I don't care what the cost is. I just want the freaking thing out. I can promise you, I'm not going to say, let me think about it at the end of that consultation. I'm not. I have urgency. I want this thing out of my ear. Okay. So urgency and clarity during your discovery call. Now, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm going to show you guys how to do this. And it comes when you are focused on, and we'll get to that here in a second. That's the good stuff. All right, so here's a key script. Here's a key script. At the end of our call, I'll ask you for a decision. At the end of our call, I'll ask you for a decision, whether it's a yes or a no, so we can both move forward with clarity. Does that sound good? Richard, at the end of our call, I'm going to ask you for a decision, whether it's a yes or a no. And I want you to be clear, it's okay if you say no. I just want an answer so we can both move forward with clarity. Does that sound good? If you do that, or to some effect, and you practice that introduction, you will almost eliminate think about it objections. You will eliminate them. And if you're still getting Justin, I'm still getting let me think about it. Then there's something in the urgency and the clarity. There's not enough urgency and there's not enough pain. Okay? Urgency means pain. Think of the two as the same. What about blocking the money objection? I don't have any money. Well, first and foremost, my mentor tells me, again, if you're getting unqualified buyers on your sales calls with no money, that is a you problem. Let me repeat myself again. If you're getting unqualified buyers on your sales calls, and at the end of a 60-minute sales call, they can't afford what you're selling, that is a you problem, not the customer. Not the customer. They're just doing what customers do, right? It's my right to walk into Chanel. I can walk into Chanel. It's my right to walk into Prada. I can walk into Prada. It's my right to do that. I don't know if Prada is still big or fancy or high end. I'm just saying I don't have anything Prada, so I mean, I guess. Right? I don't wear Gucci, but I'm just saying I can walk into a Gucci store and look around, right? Customers are doing what customers do. However, there are some stores that I know of that there are very boutique shopping locations where just to look around costs you $50. You think I'm gonna look around? You think I'm gonna go look around for $50? Of course not. Why? Because guess what? I am clear on the expectation. The expectation is to look around, it's $50. That's not valuable to me. I'm not spending my $50, and I don't want anything that would cost me $50 if I got to look at it. If I don't want anything that would cost me $50 just to look at it. Okay. Now, blocking money objections. You want to explore budget and value perception during discovery. You want to explore budget and value perception during discovery. You also want to highlight ROI and the cost of an action during demo. What do you mean by that, Justin? What would this challenge cost your business if it isn't addressed in the next 6 months? That's a very direct question. And you're gonna ask it again. What would this challenge cost your business if it isn't addressed in the next 6 months? If you guys don't get a failover solution, if you guys don't get a data recovery management solution, if you guys don't get WAN points or whatever complex solution we're talking, if you don't solve this problem, what will it cost your business in 6 months? And now if you want to talk about ROI, you can say most of my clients are seeing a 40% increase in efficiency within 6 months, which offsets the initial investment. Right? So if you're getting money objections at the end of the call, first let's know, do I have a qualified buyer? Can he even afford what I'm buying? Or can he even afford what I'm selling? First and foremost. Okay, can he afford what I'm selling? If he can, then I haven't delivered enough ROI. I haven't delivered enough value. And I haven't extrapolated enough pain to make the cost of inaction high enough versus the investment. Okay. What about fear objections? Where can I enhance my call to block fear objections? You want to build confidence by addressing risk and concerns early, using case studies and testimonials during your demos. We talked about this yesterday. Nothing beats a video testimonial. The more video testimonials you have, the lower the resistance you'll get, and you won't get fear objections. Okay, you won't get fear. A fear objection is simply, I don't trust you. I don't trust you enough yet. I don't have enough evidence that this is going to work for me. And the only way there's enough evidence that it'll work for me is if I see enough evidence that it's working for someone else. Okay? Let me share how Richard faced the same challenge and achieved 50 pounds in weight loss in 6 months. All my personal trainers, as you guys can see what's on my mind today. By the way, the gym was closed this morning. I was really ticked off because it messed up my morning, threw my morning off. And if anybody knows, your mornings are sacred. And so when the gym was closed this morning, I was really upset. So weight loss is on my mind, right? How about blocking the timing objection? How do I enhance or how do I eliminate, hey, it's not, now's not right time. Maybe next quarter, right? During your discovery phase, what's your timeline for solving this problem? Uncover their timeline and priorities early in discovery. And then you want to tie your solution to the cost of delay. If you've done this right, your customer's already told you how much money they're losing if they are not solving this problem. And you need to literally hammer that in their head over and over and over again until they tell you no. So, question like this: what's your ideal timeline for solving this issue? What's your ideal timeline for your weight loss journey? What's your ideal timeline for your connectivity implementation? What's your timeline to install that new home entertainment system if you're selling home entertainment? What's your timeline for renovating your home if you're selling home renovations? Right? Guys, these questions are universal. Not just B2B or SaaS or IoT or enterprise sales. This is universal. This is sales 101. Truly, it really is. It's really in the tonality and how you ask questions and where you ask questions that the experts kind of live. But this is sales 101. Waiting could mean this impact. So by starting now, you position yourself for this benefit. Okay? Blocking the old partner objection. Got to talk to my wife. Got to talk to my husband about it. Got to talk to my CEO. It was all lies, by the way. Right? Because let me be clear about something. Let me be clear about something really quick. If the CEO has to be involved, the CEO is making the call. There, I said it. Just so we can all kind of, if the CEO has to be on the call, the CEO is making and scheduling the call. More than likely. So you want to identify decision makers early and their roles in discovery. So you want to get them involved early, and you want to understand what their role is and why they're on the call. Okay? And then you want to equip your prospect who's on the phone with you with talking points for their team. Who else needs to be involved in this decision? Okay, great. Here's how you can explain this to your team. If you must do that, I would say, do you mind if I send a follow-up, not just to you, but CC everybody else who needs to be involved? Remember, guys, everything you do should be about looking forward, not backwards. It should be about advancing the sale forward, not backward. Now, if you happen to get objections at the end of your call and they happen to slip through after we've delivered a masterful introduction where We set clear expectations that we are going to ask the customer for money, and we're going to ask them for a clear yes or a no. If in your discovery phase, you've already asked enough questions to deliver, to uncover pain, a lot of it, to uncover the desired outcome, and to figure out what timeline they have, then if by then you've done that, I knew this was going to happen, by the way. If by then you've already done that, what you need to do then is we're going to handle them very, very calmly. Okay, we're going to handle them very, very calmly. And so what does that mean? Okay, what does that mean? What that means is you want to acknowledge and validate their concerns. You want to acknowledge and validate their concerns. Guys, I know my camera went off. I apologize. Okay, you want to acknowledge and validate their concerns. Okay. Once you've already acknowledged and validated their concerns, what you want to do now is clarify their concerns. Now I'm back. Thank you, guys. Okay. You want to clarify the concern. So once you acknowledge their concern, I apologize here. Let me go back here. Once you acknowledge, hey, I completely understand where you're coming from. That's a common concern. Let me help you. Remember, guys, if you're getting objections at the very end of these calls, it is because customers are not clear. Okay. Number two, you want to clarify the concern. Can you share what specifically makes you hesitant? What's stopping you? Okay. What's stopping you? Clarify the concern. Get the customer to open up about why they are not going to move forward. Okay. Number three, you want to reframe and resolve. So you've acknowledged and validated, hey, I completely understand where you're coming from. That's a common concern. You know what? This is not cheap. It's not a cheap solution. I get it. But can you share with me what specifically makes you hesitant? Once you solve the problem, so based on what we've discussed, if we don't solve this problem in a 6-month time frame, you stand a chance to lose $100,000 in lost revenue. Right? You got to reframe and resolve it. Go back to pain. And then you want to confirm, and then you want to close. You want to confirm, and then you want to close. Does that address your concern? Yeah, it does. All right. Ready to move forward? So that to me is the perfect sales call. The perfect sales call. 90% discovery, 10% close. Strong, impactful introduction that sets clear expectations. Discovery phase that uncovers pain, desired outcomes, timelines, and decision-making processes. And then a natural close that, i.e., either handles objections or they're eliminated altogether, and now you can move naturally to a close. Here are our next steps to sending the proposal to you. And in fact, if you are one of my students and you're selling a B2B product or you're selling a point of sale product, I want you to ask for the credit card on the phone. I want you to ask for that sale on the phone. Ask for the credit card right then and there. Right then and there. Let me say this to you guys. Allowing a customer or sending a customer the proposal and having them look at it and think about it or sending them the invoice is the akin to I'll come right back. The wallet's in my car. Oh man, I lost my wallet, left my wallet at home. No. Hey, I can take that credit card now for you. I can send you a link right now. It's a secure link. I can send it to you right now. We can get you started. Right on the call, we get you started. I can schedule an onboarding call for you tomorrow. Right? Get your payment on the call if you're in a point of sale sort of transactional state, okay? Or a transactional sale. For my SaaS folks who are selling SaaS products or B2B enterprise SaaS, if you're selling a SaaS solution and you know, after the demo, you don't have a free trial and it's right into implementation and execution, take that credit card over the phone. So, deep breath. I dealt with my first technical issue that I knew I was going to deal with, by the way, guys. Something told me this camera's going to time out on you eventually. And I handled it like a charm, handled it like a champ. So I appreciate you guys for being patient with me. Thank y'all for sticking this thing out with me for 1 hour. Man, this has been an hour long. Again, these are how long your sales calls can be. So here are some next steps for you. Here's some action steps I want you guys to take before we go into our to end the call, end the training. I want you to audit your last 3 sales calls. Where did your objections arise? By the way, I offer call reviews. So if you want your call reviewed, I will offer anybody that's on this call right now for free. I'll offer anyone who is on this webinar, I'll offer you a free call review. Just DM me, send me a message, and we'll work out a way for you to get your call over to me, and I'll listen to your call, and I'll give you a call review. Okay? Audit your last 3 sales calls. Remember, the pros, the professionals, the elite record their conversations. You let your customer know, hey, Richard, hey, Laura, this call's being recorded. Is that okay? I'm going to send you a copy as well. You want to practice using discovery questions to block objections. You want to practice using discovery questions that block objections. In one of my courses, we spend literally an hour just doing this. We literally spend an hour just practicing questions. Questions, 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 and more questions. And then you want to role play handling objections with a peer or team member. That's where I come in. You want to do role playing? I do role playing. My role playing is intensive. We can do role playing for 2 hours. Like, role playing should be everything. Okay? Your homework, I'm not going to fool with this camera. Your homework is to write scripts that handle each objection confidently. So your homework tonight is to write your scripts, or write your script on how you're going to handle each key objection confidently. How are you going to handle a money objection? How are you going to handle a think about it objection? How are you going to handle a spouse or partner objection? How will you handle a fear objection? How will you handle a timing objection? You want to write a script for each of those objections. All right, we're at the end. If you're still here and you're listening to me, type the end in the chat. Just type the end in the chat. I'm going to get this camera working so I can come back to you guys and do a quick outro. Camera is overheating. Okay, my camera overheated. I got it. Guys, I figured it out. My camera overheated. So when the Sony EVZ10 overheats, it just shuts off. So now I got it. Hey guys, I want to thank y'all so much for the opportunity to join you guys one more day. Third day. This has been a marathon. Holy smokes. If you do not know how hard it is to talk for an hour straight, It is hard. Okay. What if I told you guys that I practiced for this stuff all night last night? But I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Through all the technical stuff, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this training tonight. And I'm going to say this before this camera times out again. Objections are not rejections. But objection handling is where the average meet the elite. Closing sales is about removing resistance, lowering resistance, and closing naturally. That's what sales is. Sales is a natural conversation that delivers value, and in that value exchange, asks for something in return. That's all sales is. And if you think about sales in that fashion, you will be successful. If you think about sales as an outward value-giving exercise, you will be successful. Okay? Objection handling is where the average meet the elite. You focus on objection handling, you focus on practicing your scripts, you focus on answering questions confidently, you will close and you will be an elite seller. No doubt about it. You will have millions in pipeline, millions in gross profit revenue. I guarantee it. Not maybe, not might, not guarantee. It's a guarantee that if you practice your objection handling skills, you will be unstoppable. You'll be a badass in sales. Period. End of story. Period. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming by. Thank y'all for spending an hour with me. I'm going to edit all of these and repurpose all of these. And I got a gift for you guys coming tomorrow, where I'm going to release a pretty good ebook I've been working on for about 3 weeks. It's going to be a pretty good value-packed ebook. So look for that. I cannot wait to introduce you guys to the coming March cohort. I'm going to start advertising for it in February, but there's going to be a 4-week March cohort that I want you guys to look out for, because it's going to be a 4-week sprint of just me and you one-on-one, and you're learning all of this. I'm giving you all the secrets one-on-one. I'm going to wrap my arms so tight around this class, these students, that they are going to be the elite of the elite come Q2. All right. I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow, day 4. Woo! Day 4, where we talk about financing, and more financing in your sales calls. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow for day 4. Tomorrow won't be as exciting as it's day 3, but we are sprinting along, and I appreciate you guys for joining me along this journey, and I will see you guys tomorrow.